Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. And can I just start by saying I'm absolutely blown away, guys, by the level of support to my previous video, the critical channel update. Honestly, I didn't expect when I put it out. I expect this to be kind of my farewell month and what have you, because I just didn't expect us to get anywhere near what I was asking for. And the amount of support has been mind-blowing. In the video I'd mentioned $1,500. I've scaled that back slightly to $1,250 for the Patreon goal, and even with that I was just thinking, it's pipe dream, it's not going to happen. But as of today, or this morning, last time I checked, we are up to pretty much $1,000, and I know obviously the bulk of all the donations comes at once as people see the video, and it's up to the usual amount of views now, that critical update. But there's still a way to go. I said I was going to keep casting for a few weeks, and it's really heartwarming, and not just the financial side of it. I've had so many people send me so many positive messages. And it's just nice after, I mean, I get a lot of positive messages the whole time anyway, but it's nice to have that reaffirmed after, well, I suppose I started in 2012, so, a good solid 5 years of doing this now. Yeah, it's really reassuring. So thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated, and we can crack on with another cast, hopefully, as we can do many times again in the future. Today we've got a custom 4v4 with an eclectic mix of Joes and Pros, being as inclusive as possible on a day like today, feeling very much in that frame of mind. And that game is going to go down on Open Palms Ultimate. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. And apologies once again, guys, that's still a little scratchy on the opening there. I'm still working on trying to figure out obs, but I'm enjoying the kind of the low-key nature of it, because I think XSplit is a little bit of a bloatware, as people have mentioned to me in the past. And this has allowed me, some of you have noticed that I'm running at 60 FPS on it now, so which people have been begging me to do for like the longest time, and I've done it now. So hopefully if I can get that intro ironed out just a little bit, it will seem better. Anyway, let's get on with the game. Let's take a look. We'll call this, it's hard actually because it's so left and right, but I got to prioritize top over bottom, so we're going to call this team 1 up here at the top and this team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for team 1 up here at the top in Hallie Orange. He's going Aeon, opening first land. It's Zero. Next up to his right in Mellow Yellow, we have the amazing Noob. I'm not sure what makes him amazing. It's clearly the fact, I guess, that he's going UEF and opening first land. Team member number 3 down here in Baby Blue, we have Grunty. He's misclicked and gone Cybrin, bless him, open first land. And last but not least, another Cybrin, and it's Speedy Gonzalez. And he's going Cyanide Scion, opening first land, going second there next to the Hydro. So 2 Cybrin there, and Aeon and a UEF for Team 1. Let's take a look at Team 2 down here at the bottom. It's Pope Melvin, not in his regular slacks of Pontiff White as a Pope should be. He sort of hasn't washed for a while. The laundry at the Vatican is out of commission, and he is opening first and second land. Next up over here, it's another Cybrin, and it's Dull-Witted. Draw what you want from that, and he's going first. Oh no, he's not going first, second land. Sorry, he's going first land, second air. Team member number 3 for Team 2 over here. It's none other than one of our Russian favorites. It's the quintessential Zlo. He's opening first land, going second air next to the Hydro. And last but not least, over here, he stole the Pontiff White from the Pope. It's Mason Noob, and he's gone Cybrin, opening first and second land. Game quality is at 93.88%, so we can say this is a balanced game. And there's combat going on somewhere, and it's down here. The engineer, bless him, who was working on the Hydro for, I'm guessing, Pope Melvin. Yep, that got gizzarded by a naughty little hunter there from Grunty. Eventually those raiding parties get dealt with by Pope Melvin's ACU advancing forward. Little bit of a rush up through the middle from Zlo, getting a mech marine and a sloop involved, wailing away on one of Chosen's... did I even say Chosen? Oh, it's the amazing noob. It's Chosen, of course. He renamed his ACU right at the beginning just to trick me. So this is my good friend Chosen in his very customary mellow yellow, being really difficult for casters everywhere by changing the name on his ACU right at the beginning before the call-outs can get done. But there we go, a little bit of Mantis on Mantis action, and I thought we were going to get a double kill there as the two finish each other off, but no, it seems Grunty's Mantis bests Dulwittid's Mantis and leaves him on around 14 HP left. Quick Jester play coming out from Speedy Gonzalez to assist at the back of Team 1's base sections there, killing off any potential looters as they make a break for sensitive structures or engineers in the early game. Zero pushing out towards the Nook. Interestingly enough, on here, typically you usually see open palms kind of bifurcated down the middle, but this is going the other way. It's a feature, I'm guessing, of the new ultimate pattern, which is drastically changing the way that maps are being played. And usually these key areas here are bases, but they don't even have mass points in this one. They are literally just well, they've just got a few trees. It'd be a nice place, I'm guessing, to place your tower to hide Rapunzel in if you were an evil witch that wanted to live forever. There you go, showing what I have to do for the rest of the time when I'm not casting. It's watching flipping Disney films when I'm providing daddy daycare. Mantises pushing around the back of the Nook for Speedy Gonzalez, getting dealt with pretty effectively by the strikers lying in wait there for Pope Melvin. Still in the early phase of this one, lots of small bands of T1 units raiding where they can, but a little bit of an ACU push potentially on the cards up the middle from Grunty and Speedy Gonzalez. In fact, ACUs have come further into the middle for Team 1 than Team 2. The most advanced for Team 2 is Zlo. We've got sitting over here. He's building some pretty ambitious wall sections there to slow down any potential advance of his opponents. We have got Pope Melvin and Dulwitted in a similar section of the map as well. Dulwitted working on some T1 PD in the middle. Zero has messed something up, I'm interpreting by that exclamation in local chat. Over at the top left corner, interceptors there for Zlo, getting not cut down, but tickled to pieces, shall I say, by a few T1 anti-air units there from Zeros. The odd extra inti from other players getting involved as well. Jostling backwards and forwards now for position between Grunty and Dulwitted. Always feels like I'm being overtly and unnecessarily offensive towards Dulwitted, but I choose his name. He did that to himself. T1 units clashing down in the bottom right between Speedy Gonzalez and Pope Melvin, but the Pope suffering now at the hands of a Jester. Gonzalez can pull his T1 forces back and let the gunship do the rest of the work with impunity, as there are no T1 anti-air units in play there for the Pope. Zlo's been taking a little bit of fire on his comms, down to around 9,100 HP. Zero, by contrast, at full health. I don't know if it's me, but the game sounds seem just a little bit quieter today. I know I don't usually do this, but it sounds like just do with a little bit more volume. Hopefully that doesn't destroy the cast too much, but just sounding on the quiet side. Been making a lot of alterations to the setup recently. That sounds a better volume. If I've destroyed the cast completely by that, I do apologise. And Zlow's ambitious wall sections seem to have been interrupted. Either that or he pulled the engineers working on them. It will help or serve to funnel opposing forces, as you can see was happening to Chosen's T1 units there as they approach the gap. So maybe that's all he needed. T2 engineers back here working on some defenses for Zlow. One triad online and another one on the way. It's very much operation contain rather than offense at the moment for Team 2. Taking a quick look at mass totals. It's all pretty close. I know it's early. We're only in minute 8, 8.5. But all around the kind of 20s, one or two dipping into the 30s there. Pope Melvin, dull-witted, Zlow was in the 30s, but has dropped off slightly. And of course, Chosen out in the lead at the moment on 35, but all could change and is likely to in the immediate future. A little bit of an attempt at the run by to sneak some units in around the back there from Zero. Maizanoob lying in wait though with his commander is taking some fire from Zero as he backs up and tries to utilize as much of the radar coverage and the range, of course, on the Auroras as possible. Continual air fights over this section of the map between Zlow, Chosen, Zero and Maizanoob. Mostly though it seems to be Zlow and Chosen that are wrestling. Those of course are the two highest rated players in this. The average Joes are dull-witted Gonzalez, Melvin and Grunty. Everyone else is above that 1500 cut-off point that we arbitrarily decide makes you a pro here at Cast. The story behind that is simply because that's what people told me at the time when I started casting the general pro level was, and it just kind of stuck. But I think it kind of works out reasonably well. Feel free to criticize me as always in the comment section below. A little bit of base warfare going on between Chosen and Zlow. His triad wins out and Zlow's about to get a little bit of shield coverage on that section as well. And he's got flapjacks in the mix, which is going to make life difficult for Chosen to hold this position. He's got all of the radar coverage that he needs. That shield's about to blink on any second now. There it goes. Zlow will dip in behind it, and that will be surely the end of at least the emplacements going up directly the other side of the wall. Meanwhile, Grunty testing the line with his T1 over here. Gonzalez also in the mix as well. Dull-witted and Pope Melvin playing it quite tight on the other side of the field. No ground really being gained, and although map control seems to be favouring Team 1 at the moment, remember the only real mass advantage that's giving them is the mass points on the plateau with this particular variation of Open Palms Ultimate, the way the map is set out for the game today. Remember, it changes on the parameters set now by players in the lobby. It really has opened up the options for players. Now means that, as never before, no two games are the same. Dull-witted and Pope Melvin just looking like they're thinking about it, but perhaps not. Certainly equal force over here from Team 1, and a major T1 incursion now from Chosen, pushing to the south of the plateau. Dull-witted moving north to cover that, has got a T1 PD in place. Pope Melvin, meanwhile, under attack from a push from Grunty. He's got that covered, though, with his commander. No tech on the field at all in this pressure, it would seem, from Team 1. And not a great deal on the field from Team 2 either. However, Dull-witted does have a banger, and he's also got a couple of fire beetles as well. wondering if he's thinking about trying to get them on top of one of these two commanders, either Speedy Gonzalez or Grunty. Zero moving backwards and forwards with his commander over here. Hoplites moving in for Maisonu, getting some volleys off and then withdrawing, and Zero taking fire now down to 7,200 or so HP, dropping again with every volley. He's going to need some more support. Engineers being airlifted by Chariot there from Zero. Where's he headed? He's trying to get in around the back onto the higher sections, but that's got locked onto pretty smart by Maisonu. Nice pickup there from him, paying attention. That was always pretty ambitious, certainly coming from that trajectory. You would have needed to try and sneak right down the edge to get that one to safety, I'd imagine. Back down here, dull-witted on 6,500. Pope Melvin pretty healthy, or fully healthy at 13,200. Got the Zeph amp on board and is getting another upgrade. A little bit of chatter going on from Slow, talking about the quantity of air. Sure how it really pertains to what's going on. Yeah, we've got a few inties on the field, I'm guessing, from Zero. Maybe he's trying to suggest that his teammates help him pick up the slack. So Chosen has now got his own firebase operational. Only one triad, only one offensive weapon underneath shield coverage. The rest are all buzz kills, trying to take down those flapjack missiles as they're raining down on the shield. But Slow doesn't like the position here. He's moved forward with his comms. Zero's also rolled in, but he's got an upgrade going now. It's just started and it's going to be static for a while. There goes the shield gen. I'm wondering if Slow will now be successful in forcing Chosen off his wall sections here. Taking a little bit of fire from that triad. Slows down to 10,000 from 14,000, and he's not got enough unit support with him. He's going to have to back up, but he's done enough damage to the shield gen. I'm wondering if the flapjacks will now be able to finish off the rest of the structures. Meanwhile, the Somme-style engagement continues down here between these four Joes. Actually looks like Team 2 might have bought themselves a little bit of breathing room. Those significant numbers of units now from Chosen, as we saw earlier in that push, those have been finished off. Chosen now starting to produce more T2 units, and for the moment it's flapjacks of his own trying to counter, but actually I think this position might be lost at this point. He's got another shield gen online. Zero nearly finished that upgrade now. But certainly Chosen ecoing very nicely indeed. 63 mass per tick. Zlo has been focused on forcing him back and hasn't ecoed nearly as successfully. He's on 31, so Chosen double his mirror at this point in terms of eco, and if he now prioritizes unit production, Slow could find himself in a pretty pickle in the next 5 minutes or so. Eco continuing to climb there for Chosen, so maybe he's not prioritizing unit production as yet. It's always hard for players to know just where they're situated. Of course, we get the benefit of all of this information, they don't. Dull-witted getting some assistance from Pope Melvin's engineers, and a TAC missile launcher up at the front line with one kill to its name already. Let's see what he can reach with that. Wow, most stuff. Full range of both Speedy Gonzalez's and Grunty's base. Little bit of pressure coming up from the bottom right-hand corner now from Pope Melvin. And he's got one or two T2 units in here, about 3 pillars, although one of them's about to die. But still not enough anti-aircraft fire, or I might have spoken too soon, as a Skyboxer turns up. The Jesters of Speedy Gonzales are forced to retreat. And potentially a new front line is emerging, but the Skyboxer rolls very ill-advisedly into the waiting arms of the praying Mantis. There is another one on the way, so we've got a T2 land factory down here spitting those out, so relatively easy to replenish. So there goes the advantage Speedy Gonzales had in the early game for those. In comes a TAC missile, long range, and I'm guessing it's already done some damage. By the looks of things, we've got a few destroyed structures over here that might have been from Corsair engagement, but certainly Zero has taken a few nasty shots there. He's lost a core mass extractor and what could be T2 P-gens, and certainly a factory up there at the back, unless that was deliberately controlled Cade for recycling. T1 bombers for Chosen trying to harass Mazanoob's little band of T2 up here at the top, which has slowly advanced after more or less conquering the top left corner, although they've missed a significant band of Zero's T1 NGs that are just loitering up at the top of the screen there, wondering if that will come into play soon. They're suddenly given a reclaim order. One of them splitting off right to the corner for a radar construction. And they go straight ahead and start reclaiming T1 mexes over there. But Mazanoob's forces are issued with a withdrawal command. And here we go, the first bit of positive movement now from Team 2 as Slow and Dull-Witted push just to the north of the plateau and towards Chosen's base. Chosen getting a new front line together over here, just working on the shield gens. Got one or two triads and a lot of buzz kills, obviously fearing the flapjack power of Slow, which is scary stuff indeed. He's a master baker, if you didn't know, amongst other things. Family show, must refrain. But now, point defense, the order of the day for Chosen under that shield gen. As he looks to deter the other units. In comes a Janus for Chosen. Rains fire down on top of Slow's units. And what do we got here? Is that Slow's ACU? Yes, it is, being airlifted into harm's way over here. He's got the personal shield gen, he's got the nano upgrade, he's got the Zeph amp, he's got a whole lot of attitude. And he's just going to go and start forcing Grunty back. He's pushing up here with his units. Dull-Witted is also assisting him. Mazanoob moving forward as well. Things looking pretty bad up here for Team 1. And now Slow is going on a Rambocom rampage. Recycled the wall sections around that T1 PD. And then in comes Pope Melvin with some Mongoose to finish that off at range. Grunty forced to head back to his base over here. Zero up at the top has advanced with his commander to the top left-hand corner, so trying to push back from a different approach and pressure Mazanoob from the side door. But a lovely little run by from Dull-Witted gets those Rhinos and Mantis in amongst the soft jangly bits at the back. Under Janus attack, however, from Chosen, and Grunty has moved his pretty significant band of T1 still in to defend. He's not going straight in. He would like Chosen to deal the damage from the air so he doesn't have to worry about that. Speedy Gonzales taking fire down here from some pillars, however. Pope Melvin turning up with Titans as well. We could be about to see a commander go down. Also up here at the top, Zero advancing with his commander. Maizanoob airdropping his. We're going to have to go to split screen here to keep an eye on these two things. Maybe not. Speedy Gonzalez has defeated that. No worries, we can resume and focus in on the top corner. Zero stands for suicidal as he pushes forward with no help whatsoever. He's got the 2 gun upgrades on his commander. He's facing off against T2 units, but now Maizanoob turns up with a gun upgraded commander, turns up with a couple of renegades that he can't shoot back against, puts out some pretty horrible racist abuse in local chat, and then succumbs to massive pressure. Maybe he just didn't like the color of the sky that morning. Maybe he had enough. But our first player to go is actually a member of Team 1, which I didn't see coming in the early phases of the game. Chosen now has to quickly react. Is already sending engineers out to reclaim what's left of Zero's base. But look at the pressure being exerted over here on Speedy Gonzalez. Pope Melvin is at the front door with a band of Mongoose, just wrecking his power grid. Slow also in the area with his commander throwing overcharges into the mix as and where he can. Speedy Gonzalez looking like his base might lie in ruin. And at 22 minutes, suddenly this game is going in one very clear direction. And if you're on Team 1, it's not looking good. In comes some Titans now, and the bottom got one very badly damaged Cerberus turret holding them off. Just 197 hit points left on that defensive emplacement. Slow strolling into traffic now. And the main base under severe pressure for Speedy Gonzalez, who's down on 7,700 HP. Very aggressive play now from Team 2, who have all of the momentum after that. Drops from Maizanoob now to try and prevent Chosen from expanding into that other base. But the air initiative is still with Chosen in that area, so the gunships, I think, will endure and thus be able to finish off those land units. Mongoose is tearing apart Speedy Gonzalez's T2 land factory there. Speedy turns up and is trying as best he can to curtail the freedoms of these Mongoose. What have we got on here? He's got the gun upgrade and he's got the personal stealth. He's not firing a lot of overcharges. I'm guessing he's lost his power storage and so doesn't have the capability, but surely now these guys will prioritize Speedy Gonzalez's commander and eject him from the game, at which point it'll be a 4v2. Grunty is in the area as well. Slow needs to be a bit careful here. There are bricks rolling in as Grunty's now proceeded to T3 land production, and suddenly with a rank in vet, he's now a 5-star commander. Gonzalez seems to have not more hit points than Slow, but a higher share of his overall, and now he seems to have more hit points. A parashield turns up but is quickly dispatched by Speedy Gonzalez, and suddenly Slow looks very vulnerable. All of his support has disappeared. He's taking Cerberus fire from Grunty's main base. Speedy Gonzalez continuing to pursue. There's no rank of veterancy in sight, and down he goes. In fact, did it bag both of them? Yes, it did. The comm explosion from Slow, enough to finish off Gonzalez as well. So it's a double comm elimination, but from a badly beaten Joe on this side of the map to the leading pro on the other side of the map. Team 1 will take that, I'm sure. And suddenly, as opposed to a 4v2 we were looking at a moment ago, it's a 2v3 with one pro still intact on Team 1's side of things. So not a forlorn hope at all. However, we've got T3 units now encroaching on Grunty. Grunty still with access to overcharge, I'm sure. Let's take a look at where his power's at. Yeah, he's got tons of power storage and plenty of power generation. Chosen rolls in with some stingers. That, coupled with Grunty's overcharge, is dealing pretty successfully with those T2 units and T3 units there of Dull-Witted and Maizanoob. And Chosen is now counter pushing with a couple of Percivals in the middle. Maizanoob cannibalizing Zlow's base as best he can. and there's not a lot over here at home to deal now with these Percivals. ACUs are far away, so no quick overcharge for those. They're kind of proceeding right down the middle where the base of Zlo had been. No doubt going after engineers as they try to reclaim as quickly as possible. But now Pope Melvin finds himself in a tricky situation. He's got a lot of engineers with him. They're trying frantically to build railguns as quickly as they can, but there's too many stingers from Chosen, and that's a horrible, horrible suicide from the Pope there. Catholics around the world are shocked at the departure of the Pope. Maybe if he'd just gone to the laundry and cleaned up his slacks, if Maisonoob hadn't taken his colours, he might have lasted a little bit longer. Alas, not to be. So suddenly we find ourselves in a 2v2, and now Team 1 have the initiative as it's an 1800 versus a 1600 pretty much up at the top, and then two 1200s facing off against each other, although Dull-Witted is significantly better set up at this point than Grunty, who's taken a lot of damage over here on the front lines. Percival's reach the power grid at the back. They're going to take at least one T2 P-Gen with them, I would imagine. There goes the shield. Where's the overcharge from Dull-Witted? There it is. But he managed to lose a shield gen and a P-Gen out of that, which he didn't need to. It's now a very cagey game indeed. So Chosen on mass total sitting at 100. And that is representative. He's not being throttled by power. And I think Dull-Witted is on 114, and we think that's representative as well. I don't think he's reclaiming an awful bunch, but in come the stingers from Chosen. They're going after Dull-Witted's T3 P-Gen. Dull-Witted is trying to sneak out a Monkey Lord, and the suggestion, I think, came from his teammates to try and get a Monkey Lord out ASAP whilst cannibalizing the wrecks of his teammate's base. And he needs to get that out quick, and he needs to do some damage with it, because Chosen is on the march now with his ACU full health, fully upgraded T3 Zeph Amp personal shield, and building Ravages now under shield coverage. He can continue that point defense creep now right into Maisonnoob's base. Corsairs coming for a bombing run to try and destabilize that position. Takes that shield down to about half of its projected HP. And we've got decent air coverage as well from Maisonnoob, who's sitting at T3 air. Now, can he squeeze out a strap bomber or something like that, or some T3 gunships to really make some headway? That is the question. He's starting work on a megalith himself. Sort of wonder if a bug wouldn't be more opportune at this point when they've got such a significant air advantage. I'm skeptical that either would get finished at this point. Not a huge amount of prioritization on that megalith. He's done 10,000 of 110,000, a long way to go. But we have some movement from his teammate, Dull-Witted, moving forward and advancing towards Grunty with T2 and T3, but most of the T3 are loyalists. We have one brick in amongst that group. Grunty with a few more bricks, but sufficiently less, or significantly less, I should say, sorry. T3 in general. That position of Chosen's facing sporadic trebuchet fire from Maisonnoob. Just one T3 mobile up at the front there. You won't worry about that too much, and it's interesting. So we're not going to get a point defense creep, it doesn't look like. Instead, Chosen is going to try and out-bombard his opponent by Clinkhammer spam, which I'm in full favour of at this point, because it means I get to say Clinkhammer. And again we have movement. This time over here from Dull-Witted, once again moving forward on Grunty's position. Quite a lot of loyalists, and although there are bricks in the mix, they are starting to fall by the wayside. We do have 1 or 2 bricks as well, but the march has stretched out the forces of Dull-Witted there. Janus is coming in from Chosen to try and whittle down the HP on those loyalists, and it seems to have worked. They peter out just in time, and a nice little drop over in the back there from Dull-Witted airlifts a brick into the mix. And the Monkey Lord is complete and on the way. Meanwhile, bricks rolling out for Mazenoob. They're not going to last too long. They might just manage to bag the shield, or not even that. And Mazenoob being incredibly risky, airlifting his commander right to the front line, but he's got the Mazacom going, but that's nothing compared to the firepower that's already sitting there. That's unbelievable. Meanwhile, Grunty's base under severe pressure from Dull-Witted. Chosen would like to continue to move forward, I'm sure, with his commander, but he might have to think about defensive measures now that that spider bot has been spotted. And although Grunty's commander is fleeing the base and probably won't die, at least not right now, to this Monkey Lord, the base will be in ruins, so effectively he will be a commander without an army. The odd stinger coming in now for Chosen, just trying to pile some damage onto that Monkey Lord, but that Monkey Lord's going to get a lot of free kills now as it strolls over the base. Chosen still with the occasional Janus, trying to apply pressure as and when he can. And that Monkey Lord really is gunning for Grunty's commander as well. He should, and if he can get in there, he might be able to deal some critical damage to Chosen as well. It's not over yet. Little band of Percival's making its way forwards. Fortunately, Dull-Witted forced to defend there with loyalists and not bricks. He has started work on another spider bot at the back of his base, but this one has now reached Chosen's base, and the power grid, excuse me, loses its shield coverage to the firepower of the Monkey Lord. Engineers getting Ravagers online up at the back there. Amazing noob, Chosen brings his commander back to try and defend. There goes one T3 P-Gen, but we're going to have to pause. We're going to have to go to split screen because the incursion of the Percivals is underway. And Dull-Witted doesn't have a lot to defend. He has the odd brick. We're going to kill off the mini-map so we can get a clear view for the time being. What has happened to Chosen's power grid? Well, he's now using more power than he can produce with the destruction of one of the T2s and 2 of the T3 P-Gens. But he hasn't managed, Dull-Witted, to make a play for the 2 commanders, which have moved on to the forward shielded position, or the middle shielded position. Grunty, if he can get in there, sacrifice his commander and throw a couple of overcharges on the Monkey Lord, he could potentially end this, because Dull-Witted, not comfortable about the amount of Percivals, has fleed with his commander, so he can't get in there and overcharge them, and that means those Percivals are going to cause untold devastation to his base. And I can't believe he hasn't gone straight in after with his Monkey Lord. There are a couple of Ravagers over here, but they shouldn't last too long. And he's about 9 points from another rank in veterancy. Where's the commander kill? It should be happening anytime soon. The Percival's over here on the left now working on ever more sensitive structures. Grunty comes out. There goes Grunty at 34 minutes and 4 seconds. And there goes another ranking veterancy on the Monkey Lord. And Chosen, now bottlenecked on power, is going to have problems sustaining his personal shields. But the Monkey Lord is down to 16,000 hit points. He's making a play for Chosen's commander. I think now actually might be the time to back up with that personal shield gen. That's a more dangerous unit. One overcharge is all he needs, followed up by a couple of regular gun shells, and suddenly all of the carnage is over, and all that's left is a merry band of Percivals going about their business, tearing apart T3 mexes at the back of Dull-Witted's base. And let's take a look to reflect for a moment on where we are, where that leaves us in eco terms. So Chosen is bottlenecking on power, but still he's outproducing Dull-Witted on mass at least 2-1, and that's with the power issue. So once he rectifies that, I hesitate to say after that exchange, despite the amazing amount of damage that Dull-Witted managed to inflict on Team 1 with that Monkey Lord, I think all of the momentum and all of the play is now running in favor of Chosen, who continues to take down vulnerable mass options at the back. All of that core mass is now down. They were all T3 mexes. Dull-Witted putting out a paltry 18 mass. Admittedly, he's power locked as well, but it's not looking good, suffice to say. And I think we can bump this to +2 while we see how this game is going to unfold. Dull-Witted engaging with a couple of bricks. Going to be successful in taking down a couple of Percys, I think. One broadsword out of the front line, taking down T2 gens faster than Dull-Witted can produce them, although a Myrmidon eventually kills that off. And Chosen happily expanding into Zlo's old base. He's got all of the top mass now pretty much under his control. He's expanding into them. He's getting into what used to be his old base. Would you look at that mass differential? Admittedly, a lot of that's reclaimed, 142 to 24. It's not looking good for Team 2. I'm wondering what actually happened to that second Monkey Lord that was being produced. I'm guessing it got killed off by that Percival pressure. It seemed to stroll straight in the back door down here. And Chosen now going mass T1 spam up here. Huge quantities of T1 land and air now being queued up. He just needs firepower of any kind, and he needs it now. Forget about the tech. Dull-Witted is down and out in terms of unit production. He's just trying to get his economy back up and running in some way, shape or form, and he's still, even with the new power plants he's constructed over here, he's still in a terrible position on power production. In fact, so is Chosen for that matter. But when you have the mass to at least produce units, he can rectify that power situation in no time. And it might have something to do with the enormous amount he's spending now on a Fat Boy. He'll be reclaiming all over the place to fund that, and that's already at 50% HP. And if this mass T1 spam isn't the death nail, death warrant, the final nail in the coffin of Dull-Witted, then that Fat Boy certainly will be. And in comes a massive Janus strike from Chosen. Are they going to get a chance to pick off the commander here and now? What a wonderful piece of UEF equipment they are. They're not the most efficient fighter bomber in the game, but they look beautiful. Janus to rhyme with anus, because after a very hot Vindaloo, they will kill you with fire every time. What a wonderful way to end. Chosen doesn't drag it out, doesn't wait for the fat boy, doesn't even wait for his spam plan to come to fruition. Finishes it off with a quick T2 fighter bomber strike. Very well played to everyone involved. Very enjoyable indeed. Unusual way to see Open Palms played in that manner, but I'm sure with the inclusion of the ultimate maps now, we will see a lot more of that kind of thing, hopefully on more maps as well. Hope you enjoyed it. As I say, guys, more to come from me in the future, hopefully for the continuing future, as long as the Patreon campaign reaches its goal, which I'm ever more positive now that we will. So if you haven't donated already, just $1 a month, just think about it, guys. And more to come from me in the future, I promise, if we reach that goal. All right, until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.